Everybody here, this is Cheryl here to do a preview of episode 4, and that is the title of episode 4 is My Soul's High Souls. We're starting out a few things that we're going to be looking at. This chapter, this particular episode is very, very interesting in a way that we find out that last week Charlie and Micah moved out. Well, they didn't actually moved out. They just moved in with Ralph Angel until Charlie basically find a place where her and Michael can stay. We also get exposed to Nova. Nova is getting a new editorial manager who wants Nova to actually look at a different way in trying to write her articles or her stories. He is one of those persons who don't necessarily want to hear all about the bad things that's happening around town. He wants her to write about more so of the good side and stop writing about, everything doom and gloom. So we go and we see that Charlie and Micah is actually staying with Ralph Angel and Blue. And so it seems that Micah has some issues and challenges with Blue. And we have to understand that him and Blue are basically the same when it comes to the only child. Micah has not really been used to having to share anything. He's basically used to having his own. He's just used to having his own. And so apparently, accidentally, Micah hit Blue. Accidentally, he didn't mean to hit Blue, but he did. And so, of course, you know that Ralph Angel went crazy when Micah accidentally hit Blue. So you know how he's very, very protective about his son. I think sometimes he's a little bit overprotective in Blue, which I understand that. But also, Blue gives me the impression that he could be a little bit just overbearing sometimes. And things do happen. Well, we also are dealing with Ralph Angel, and Ralph Angel received his money, his loan through the bank. So that was a positive reaction to him. We have that Charlie and is at the sugarcane having a little small gathering, trying to get more farmers to come in on the sugar mill. And then Charlie receives a phone call from her real estate agent, who she's basically hired to have somebody to find property for her. And when she received a phone call, she finds out that the first property, and she's basically trying to do a rental. She's not, excuse me, she's not really trying to buy property, she's just trying to rent it. And so she finds out that the first house that she looked at, the person decided to stay in it. And so her her agent tells her that, we have another property and it would be good for her to come and take a look at it. In the meantime, Remy was in the office, with her when she received this phone call. So she asked Remy, he's good at, assessing certain things and looking at, basically, she wanted him to come along and to look at the property. And so we go and we see the property that basically Charlie is thinking about renting. And mind you, Charlie is used to lavish things. She is used to, let's just say she's a rich woman, so therefore, she's used to the finer things in life. And I believe her mother, Lynn, remember in the last episode, we find out that Charlie does have a mother, and the mother's name is Lynn. And I think we're going to find a little bit more about Lynn as we go along. But, so Remy goes with her and it sees the house. And the house is gorgeous. It's all white and everything. It's basically gorgeous and everything. But really, Remy really digs into her, which I'm glad he basically did. He basically tell her, like, okay, you're trying to get farm people who are ordinary people to be a part of a business, and you're living in a 4-story house with rooms that you won't even use. He basically tells her that, well, how can you set an example with ordinary people who are living in ordinary stuff, and they see you not even a part of, not even in the same perimeters of where the sugar cane, where the mill is. How can you be an example to do that? And he's basically right. Now, how can you, basically do all this? And so she goes in and she kind of like, and Charlie is kind of selfish, and Charlie is kind of, this episode they really dig into her. Now I don't want to say her character, but her personality, and I guess the personality and character is basically the same. And Remy is saying, look, you need to come off of your high horse, and you need to come down to earth, and to realize where you at. You are not in Hollywood. You're in, you're in a rural area, and you need to really think about what you are doing. And so she basically dig into Remy again. She didn't really dig into Remy, but she says to him, well, what's wrong with, working hard and enjoying your fruits of labor? Why should, why not? And so Remy just kind of like went on, and then it went on to the next scene, where we see that Aunt Vi and Hollywood is home, and Aunt Vi is getting ready to go to work. And to make a long story short, Hollywood is really getting on Aunt Vi's nerves. Hollywood is not used to sitting around. He's used to doing things, and he's just not used to it. And so And so our mind goes to work. And then what happened is that Hollywood turns around and he goes to the High Yellow, whereby is now the manager. And of course, everything is kind of breaking down. The orders, the eggs are not coming on time. The waitresses are not coming in. And Aunt Vibe is just like really, really, going through it. And so she sits down and, her and Hollywood sits down and they have this conversation and everything. And then we go on and we see that we skip over and we see that we go back and we see another scene with Micah and Blue. This time Micah accidentally hit Blue, and Ralph Angel grabs Micah up by the chest and slams him up against the wall. And of course Charlie is there and asking him to kind of stop. He didn't really, really mean to do it, but it just accidentally happened. And so it goes in the conversation between Charlie and Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel basically told Charlie that basically what you have done with Bunker, you have, destroyed this boy with all of this money, with all of this privilege and everything. And so, I'm going to tell you guys, Ralph Angels was digging into, because when I tell you what he did the next time, this next week, you're not going to believe it. He goes on and he says, look, basically, Charlie, your money, it's not going to buy you happiness. To make a long story, your money cannot buy you happiness. Your money can't, you got money, but it's not, it's, how can I say, you have money, but you still have issues and challenges that you got to deal with. Yeah, you could do or get and do anything that you want, all of this money and everything, but you're still at the same, you're still a human being. So, hey, it's not going to do you no more. And so we go to as Charlie and Remy is looking at the house that Charlie is thinking about renting. She gets a call from Ralph Angel, and I love the stories because they are really 21st century. She gets a call from Ralph Angel, and they are FaceTiming, and Ralph Angels tell her, like, look, you need to kind of take a look at this. And prior before them, what had happened, that Ralph Angel and the manager that they have to help work the farm discovered that there was an infection, what they call like a white flies, which is basically a fungus. And the fungus was beginning to develop on the sugarcane. And so Ralph Angel FaceTime Charlie and Remy, so they could basically take a look at it. And so Remy sees it and Charlie sees it. And Charlie asks Ralph Angel and the person who's helped handling the field, what is it that they needed to do. And basically they had to wash the sugarcane. Not only do they have to wash the sugarcane, they also had to spray it with some kind of, I believe, with some kind of chemicals and everything. And the reason why they had to do it is that the sugarcane was producing was ripening or getting too much sugar at an early time. I think it was moving too quickly. And so they had to kind of sort of slow it down, and they had to do like a process of it. And so when they found out, and so Charlie asks Ralph Angel, well, how much is it going to cost us? And Ralph Angel tells her how much it's going to cost. And then Ralph Angel says, well, my loan from the mini loan have came in. And she tells him, no, that's for you and Blue. I'll basically pay for it herself. And so it goes off. And then we see a scene where it is that Nova is basically doing, Nova is into this high priestess. And so Nova is basically doing this ritual, which is basically blessing her friend's twins. And so her friend asks her about her life. Did she ever think about wanting to have a family? And basically, and a long story, Nova says, no, I never thought about it. My family is, my friends and my family. And so we go back to the farm. And what happened was that they needed a lot of people to help to basically clean the farm up and everything. And so while they were basically cleaning, trying to get people to come in and to clean the farm, to help them to clean the sugarcane, Ralph Angel asks Dollar he calls Dollar up and tell Dollar that he basically needs some assistance on the farm to kind of like, get some help with the sugarcane. And so basically he asked Dollar, he says, well, can you come? And Dollar says, well, I'm not quite sure, but let me see if I can come. And so Ralph Angel says, okay. And so Dollar says, okay, I'll see what I can do. And so Dollar did go to her boss and ask her boss if she could basically, get the rest of the day off. And so her boss asked her, well, is it for your son? Is he sick or anything? And she says, no, it's not for my son. It's basically for my boyfriend. He has an emergency. He said, no, you cannot go. You can't go. I'm sorry. You have to stay there. And so Dollar basically just said, okay. And so we go to now, guys, I got to put my glasses on this one because what I'm getting ready to tell you, you're not going to believe this, what I'm getting ready to tell you. What I'm getting ready to tell you is that Charlie, Remy, and everybody was like on the sugarcane farm, and they were beginning to basically clean the farm, clean all the sugarcane to, make sure it's okay to get rid of the white flies that's on these sugar canes, right? And so I'm getting ready to tell you. And so Charlie was getting ready to basically go and help them to prepare themselves, right? Ralph Angel turns around and tells Charlie he says, never mind. He says, this is what he says. He says, us field niggas can do this without you. I'm telling you, when he said, us field niggas can do this without you, I was like, oh my God. No, he didn't call this Charlie a nigger. He called, well, I don't know whether or not he called her a nigger, but he did say us field niggas. Yes, he did. He did. He did. He said us field niggas can do this without you. I was like, He did not call Charlie a field nigger, but he did. He called her a field nigger. Now, basically, this episode was very, very good, and it was good to a point, but that's not all that happened, right? So, we go back to Charlie and Ralph Angel because basically everything was centered around Charlie and Ralph Angel this time. And so we go back, and the cops come to the house where Charlie and Ralph Angel, Michael and Blue are living. And they come with a warrant. And so basically, and the policeman knocked on the door and said, "We have a warrant for Ralph Angel Bordelon. Does he live here?" And it says, "Yes, he does live here." He said, "We have a warrant for your arrest." And he said, "Well, what is the warrant for the arrest for?" "We heard that there was someone reported that there was some shots and that you are still on parole. Do you have any weapons or anything in the house?" And Ralph Angel said yes. And then they said, "Okay, well, did you have just violated your probation, and we're going to have to take you in." That's when Charlie stepped in. Charlie stepped in, and she told the policeman that the rifle and everything was hers, and that she, has a gun from here, for protection because, she's just, coming in and she's not really aware of, the rules and regulations and everything, and that she's basically, was there and the gun was there. And so they asked her and said, "Is this your gun?" And she says, "Yes, this is my gun. And this rifle is this is mine." And so, of course, she, maneuvered her way around it. You know how Charlie is. She could talk her way out of anything. So basically, you make a long story short, they didn't press charges. They didn't take Ralph Angel away and everything. And so Ralph Angel, she told Ralph Angel, she says, "I don't care how much we get into an argument or anything. Just remember one thing. I got your back no matter what. I got your back." In other words, we're family. We may be bickering. We may argue and everything. But I got your back. Now, let's deal with Darla. Darla did get to the farm and everything. But Darla made a bad. She basically chose to go and assist with Ralph Angel and the farm. Subsequently, since she did that, she wound up losing her job, and she when she comes in that next day, her supervisor meets her at the gate where where she was working at, and told her that we no longer need your services, and that you cannot come back to work. So Darla tells her supervisor, "Can you please give me a chance? This job is helping me with my probation and everything, and this is the only, it helps me with my, addiction that I have." And and she said, "I'll make it up. I'm sorry that I did it." And her boss was not having it. He says, "Well, if this is what it's supposed to be, well, you have to be responsible of your action, and just the action that you made was not a very good action." So basically, Darla loses her job. Now, of course, it was more, but I'm just trying to make this short this time. But I'm telling you, this was a very good episode. The one that really got me when Ralph Angel called Charlie a house nigga in so many words, and that he was a field nigger, and that they didn't need each other anymore. I'm probably sure I missed some things, but in the long run, it is what it is, guys. Dollar loses her job. Um, and let's see what happens. Until the next time, all things Cheryl, we want to click. We want you to subscribe, and I'm going along as I can. Take care, peace, and one love.